Well, the exact pronunciation is Di Gioia, meaning joyful in Italian. So it's quite a positive meaning in my family name. Well, first of all, it is a great pleasure to be here today in the very beautiful city of Odessa, a city I like very much, actually, at this important conference on a blue economy in the Black Sea, which is something apparently representing an oxymoron. You have the blue economy in the Black Sea. Black apparently doesn't convey any positive message, and I would like to be back now to the etymology, which is important. What is quite fascinating to me, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the history of the etymology of this region from a place which was considered an hospital to hospital. I mean, the message here is very strong. Once maybe the first tourists at the time, the Greeks, discovered the region, they changed their name. They changed the definition from an hospital to hospital, and this place is very hospital. So the key message here is the change of perception, which is fundamental in the cruise tourism and tourism in general industry. Once you show the tourists the good things, the beauties, the richness, the culture of a place, tourists, they come. And this is very important for this region as well, in order to make it even more pleasant, even more hospital than it is today, which is, by the way, a challenge which, as an industry, we are facing in other parts of Europe. We have the same issues in the Med, in the Baltic, and we are here together with the policymakers and the other stakeholders from the industry to address these issues. This is a very quick perspective of CLIA. CLIA is the world's largest trade association representing cruise operators worldwide. CLIA Europe is the European section of CLIA, based in Brussels, grey, rainy Brussels. We have 62 member lines operating worldwide. We also represent travel agents and many other executive partners, from tourism boards to destinations, to travel agents, to providers, manufacturers of technologies, and so on. The reason why we want to keep this place hospital is to keep contributing to jobs and growth in Europe and here. These are the latest figures we have presented a couple of months ago in the US at the Seatrade. As you see, the generated growth is tremendous. I mean, in 2015, we generated more than 40 billion euros to the EU economy. So a growth of 2% from 2014. In terms of jobs, we generated more than 360,000 jobs, direct and indirect jobs. The total direct spending of the industry was more than 16 billion euros in Europe. So we are doing our homework in terms of contribution to the European Union economy, but we can do more. We can do absolutely more. Passengers. Last year, Europe saw roughly 6.6 million passengers cruise onto Europe. That's a tremendous figure. There was a raise of 3% from last year. We are very proud of the success. Absolutely very proud of what we do for the tourism industry in the continent. And I'm very happy to stress the message that we have been extremely resilient to the crisis. I mean, even during and after the crisis, we had a rise of roughly 50%, which is quite a lot. Anyway, that's for Europe as a whole. Now the challenge here is the Black Sea, or the sea, or the Blue Sea, if you like. It is no secret that in the past 2 years' time, there was a decrease of calls. This chart shows the number of times a ship was in Black Sea ports for 2 hours or more. Well, that's the reality, but we are here to stress what we can do in order to be back to the past. The important message, first of all, is the promotion. What we do as an industry to promote the destinations worldwide, of course, and in Europe. Well, we have brochures, we have TV ads, we have campaigns underlining the diversity of the regions in the world and in Europe. Well, differently from other sectors or segments of the tourism industry, we are, let's say, genuinely pan-European. We don't make any distinctions between country A, B, C, D. We think in terms of Europe or minimum sub-regions of Europe. So in terms of Mediterranean, in terms of Black Sea, in terms of Baltic, in terms of Northern Europe. And everything is integrated, interconnected. Take the Black Sea, for instance. You have the regions and the countries surrounding the sea, but equally through the Bosphorus and Dardanelles, you get to Turkey. And from Turkey, you get to Europe. So we are really holistic, as somebody likes to say in the Brussels jargon in those days. Secondly, what is very important is underlining all the aspects of the specificities, and there's a lot to unlock here in the region. You have food. By the way, I'm Italian. I can confirm that the Ukrainian food is nice. I had an example yesterday evening, and I can confirm it's very tasty. History, heritage, traditions. You have a mix of Greek civilization, Byzantine, Ottoman, Russian, etc., here to be presented to the general public and to the tourists. Then we have the broader destinations. I mean, the key destinations in Europe are more and more congested, so the more we disclose and show passengers niche destinations they don't know, the better it is. First of all, you will decongest places, and secondly, you will bring growth and jobs injected directly to the local economies and municipalities and communities in Europe. Our industry is definitely value for money, and it is quite a time saving. If you consider that in 7 days or 10 days' time, you can easily visit 4, 5, 6 different ports from different regions, each of them with different culture, style, etc., which is great. So again, conveying the experience of European specificities in one single trip. Competence and knowledge is fundamental for our crew. A happy crew, a prepared crew, a skilled crew means happy guest, of course. The shore excursions are fundamental. Again, we need to provide quality for the shore excursions in all places we visit with our ships. Repeaters meaning that once I visit a port in one country, quite likely I will be tempted to see again the country using other means of transport. So that's a kind of spillover effect that we don't have to forget. But there are challenges, of course. I mean, we are not living in a perfect world. That's a matter of fact. The challenges are, of course, the decrease of cruising vacations in the region, the fact that the market penetration in Europe is much less than in the US, for instance. So we expect in the future a growth of passengers cruising to Europe. Now, we don't have to underestimate the current geopolitical situation in the Mediterranean. At the end of the day, what is left now is the Western Med and the Baltic. According to some figures released by the World Tourism Organization, by 2030, Asia could replace Europe as a second destination in the world. For the time being, hopefully, we have the Caribbean as first market, followed at the world level by the Med, the Mediterranean Sea, and the Baltic. We need to do something. We need to discover new places. We need to unlock the potential of new places. Eastern Med, as I said, regretfully is out. So what do we have here? We have, for instance, the Black Sea. The market share, as I was saying before, 40% of the market share can decrease, European market share, by 2030 if we don't do anything. So what can we do to unlock the potential of this region of the Black Sea? Well, first of all, we need to improve the connectivity. Connectivity means not only roads, but flights, aviation, airports. I mean, don't forget that there are flight cruises as well, which we more and more promote all over Europe. Transport connections, public investments. For public investments, we need to think about, for instance, PPP, private-public partnership, in order to develop the infrastructure. And by the way, as CLIA, we have recently launched a public campaign at the European level together with many other stakeholders, like ESPO, like ferries, like aviation sector, in order to invest more at European level on the CEF and other financial instruments promoted by the EU. Second point, which is fundamental, the port facilities. The port facilities in order to host ships coming to your places. We can have an issue, for instance, on sewage. You know that the more the ship is big, the more the ship needs adequate facilities to receive the sewage on port and to treat the sewage. The fees are equally important, so I'm happy to hear from the representative of the Ukrainian port that there is in the pipeline a decree of the fees for the port of Odessa. And then the dialogue. The dialogue between the industry and public policymakers at the local level is key. We will appreciate the sensitiveness and the openness of the European Commission to launch this dialogue. The first edition of the pan-European dialogue between cruise industry, ports, and the local authorities and destinations was launched in March last year in Brussels. We are now implementing local, regional dialogues in the Baltic, in the Med, and why not in the Black Sea. The synergies between municipalities and industry is equally key. I mean, at the end of the day, what we have here to do is to increase the flows of tourism in the region, but in other parts of Europe and the world, we have a problem of congestion, so we need to manage properly the tourism flows, and this can be done not only through the engagement of member lines, but this can be done also through the cooperation with people deciding on the spot. And then presenting and promoting the product. I mean, we can do a lot of things as companies, but we need to get the cooperation in terms of promotion from, again, the tourism boards, the stakeholders at the local level, and again, a recent campaign has been launched by the European Commission to promote Europe as a single destination, and we are definitely on board because, as I said before, we think in terms of Europe, not in terms of individual specific destinations and or countries. So I think that this is it for the moment. I'm happy to receive all questions from your side. Thank you very much for your attention.